Yeah, we're back from a brief intermission. Let's go back to where we left off.
Matthew chapter 13, verse 38. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. The Son of Man shall send...
Yeah, what world is it talking about? Because there's no record of the Roman Empire being jacked up by fire, by fireballs, just totally. There's no record on that. This is referring to now, what's getting ready to happen. Go ahead.
The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which...
Yeah, that's those Edomites, the 2/3 of Israel, and the other nations. Go ahead.
And them which do iniquity, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing.
Now, you know the angels are not going to take no big gigantic furnace and throw them in. This is parabolic. That's why Esau can't get this book, because this book is not written in the way that they should understand. This is parabolic. The big furnace represent those missiles destroying them. Go ahead.
There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father, who hath ears to hear.
Who are the righteous? And it said they're going to shine forth. You're going to know an Israelite in the kingdom when you see it. When you see him or her. Give me Daniel 12. The key point is around about the 3rd verse, but start at the very top so you can see that it's talking about the same thing. What the elder just read in Matthew 13 is the time of Jacob's trouble, is the end of this thing. When Michael comes, that's simultaneously, that's when the Lord comes. Go ahead.
This is Daniel 12:1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people.
That time is talking about something that's getting ready to happen very soon. The destruction of this society. Go ahead.
And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation.
And you're seeing it on the financial news, on CNN. This riot that's been going on in Greece for about a year, maybe a little over a year. It hasn't stopped. It hasn't slowed down. And then you got riots and revolutions and little mini wars, I'll say, going on all around the world. And the U.S. military has their hands in all of these little wars, one way or another. And the whole world knows that. Go ahead.
And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation.
It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. And what's happening over there in Greece is coming to America. All right? Like I said, I think it was last week on not Carvel show, on Imus in the Morning show about maybe 2 weeks ago. He had a guest named James Carville, which he's a Democratic strategist, and he worked close with Bill Clinton during his administration. And they let him on those different talking head shows, and he basically said things are not going to get better in this country, and if it stays this way, he said even if things got better, he said even if things went back to pre 2008 levels, you're still going to catch hell. And he said he don't see things getting better, and he said don't be surprised, very soon you're going to have civil unrest in this country. And I'm pull his wire rimmed glasses off, and then they cut it. All right, you'll see it. You'll see it coming up.
Figure on that one.
Yes, it was.
But unemployment's at 9.1%. Newsweek and the Daily Beast just did a poll and found that there's a rising level of anger, as they describe it, with people around the country. Gas, grocery prices are out of soaring. The housing market's crashed. And y'all famously said when Bill Clinton ran, that the economy's stupid. It's going to be the same this time, isn't it?
It is. And look, I don't think anybody, if 54,000 new jobs is the new standard, it's going to be a very, very rough 2012 for President Obama. But the 3-month average was 160. If that's the case, then he'll do okay. So I can't tell you what's going to happen, but if this last jobs number is an indication of future job numbers, it's going to be very, very rough. But the other side is they don't have too much over there. They don't have a lot on their pitch so far. I guess they'll get better.
I made not an original observation, but one of the things I did think he had going for him, I didn't vote for him, but that's irrelevant. But the observation I made that he would have going for him is that even people who didn't vote for him, had begun to think of him as the president. You know how there's a break-in time when.
Yeah.
And so, but I mean, man, if these numbers, as you just said, if they're like they are in November, as they are today, I don't see how he wins. Do you?
Well, it's going to be very difficult. But the country, if that's what we're doing, this is gruesome on people. I think this unemployment rate for this long is a humanitarian crisis of the first magnitude. And this financial crisis, and people that study this, by the way, know that these things take this long to work their way through. The aftermath of these things, as in kind of an academic book that's kind of dry. It's entitled "This Time Is Different," and of course, what the authors concluded is it is not different this time. And they studied the aftermath of these financial crises, and what we're going through is eminently predictable. But this is a terrible thing that's happened to people's lives, and and I think the president at one level understands that, but he's kind of limited what he can do. So we'll just have to see. But it's going to be hard. If 54,000 jobs a month is the new norm, this is going to be very, very tough. However, some people say that might be just a 1 month thing. We don't know.
And this Newsweek poll found that it not only was affecting the way people thought about their jobs, whether they had one or not, but it was affecting things like their sex drive.
Absolutely. Work. We just did a poll, Democracy Corps. 44% of the respondents, either them or somebody in their house, had taken a pay cut in the last year.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't have. If you're 50 years old and you're providing for your family and you've been out of work for a year and a half, you're not the same person. This is the tragedy of unemployment.
You can't be
the real tragedy of unemployment. And a lot of people like that. And other than there's not much. Even if the economy comes back, the prospects of a lot of people finding a job are not good.
They're blaming God.
Look, people. This is again a humanitarian, and you're smart enough to see this. And people, if it continues, we're going to start to see some civil unrest in this country. I hate to say that, but I think it's eminently possible.
Talking with James Carville here on the Anderson Morning Program.